Donald Trump graded his Asia trip this week. Not surprisingly, he thought it was a tremendous success. Our great country is respected again in Asia, he tweeted. All recent polling data from the region suggests the opposite. A core focus of Trump's trip was Japan and South Korea, for example. Only 17% of South Koreans and 24% of Japanese expressed confidence in him. That is down from 88% and 78% who expressed confidence in President Obama during his second term. Trump's rhetoric of self-interest and America first was seen by Asians as a sign of retreat, in contrast to Chinese President Xi Jinping's more open, outward-looking, and ambitious agenda. However, Trump's foreign policy faces a new challenge now that could further disrupt the Middle East, already the most unstable part of the world. Trump has given the green light to an extraordinary series of moves in Saudi Arabia that can only be described as a revolution from above. Some of them suggest real and long-needed reforms, but all appear to have the risk of destabilizing Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. Saudi Arabia's new crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, has moved to consolidate power in all directions, jailing conservative clerics on the one hand and advocates of political reform on the other. His most recent targets have been some of the kingdom's most powerful princes, including the head of the National Guard, as well as the billionaire investor Al-Walid bin Talal, on allegations of corruption. A senior Arab statesman and businessman told me the reasons given seem suspect. He said, every prince in Saudi Arabia has partaken in the institutionalized corruption that is embedded into the system. If this was really about corruption, Al-Walid is the last Saudi prince you would go after. Saudi Arabia has historically rested on three pillars of stability. There's the royal family, and it has intermarried with the second pillar of Saudi society, the tribes. These two then ally with the final pillar, the country's ultra-Orthodox religious establishment. Mohammed bin Salman has said the right things about religious moderation, and he has taken on all three pillars. But in doing so, he is altering the very structure of the Saudi regime, from a patronage state based on consensus to a police state based on centralized control. Time will tell whether it will work. The greater puzzle and greater danger is that while taking on this bold and risky domestic agenda, the Crown Prince has also made a series of aggressive moves abroad. He has escalated Saudi intervention in Yemen with air, land, and sea blockades and bombing strikes. He has tried to quarantine Qatar. In Lebanon, he apparently forced the prime minister to resign, hoping to destabilize the Shiite-dominated government. All these are part of an effort to fight back against Iran's growing regional influence. But these are blunt tools for a complex challenge. The Saudis, for example, are attempting to dislodge the Iran-backed Shiite group Hezbollah from its position of power in Lebanon and punish Qatar for its alleged ties to the group. But for several years now, the Saudis and Americans have been in an unspoken alliance with Hezbollah against the Islamic State. The Islamic State is being largely defeated by American-backed Kurdish forces and Iranian-backed Shiite militias, including Hezbollah. In any event, the Saudi strategy does not seem to be working. The war in Yemen has turned into a disaster, creating a failed state on Saudi Arabia's border, seething with anger against Riyadh. Qatar has not surrendered and doesn't seem likely to anytime soon. The Shiites in Lebanon did not take the bait, and so far they seem the responsible party, refusing to plunge the country into instability. But everywhere in the Middle East, tensions are rising, sectarianism is gaining ground, and with a couple of miscalculations or accidents, things could spiral out of control. And with Donald Trump having so firmly supported this Saudi strategy, America could find itself dragged deeper into the growing morass in the Middle East. For more, go to cnn.com/Fareed and read my Washington Post column this week.